to the Grand Review. This is the show that's all about movie news and reviews. I'm your host, Garrett Ray, the guy who definitely can feel pain. And joining me, it's the man in the chair who, I don't know if he wants to be there or not. It's Andy Delia.
the person you inflicted a pain on this week.
That's what I do. That's what I do. I can't help it. It's just a talent I have. It comes naturally to me. No.
We know this for anybody that else has listened to this podcast before.
Yeah, I inflict pain on Andy constantly without remorse, and well, a little remorse, but only when it's an accident that I inflict pain.
And I laugh it off every week, and I come back.
I know, it's like you're a glutton for punishment.
I am.
Speaking of gluttons for punishment, I guess we should talk about this week's movie.
Yeah.
We
should.
If you haven't joined us before, basically how the show works is we do a spoiler-free review right up front, and then we'll get into spoilers, and we'll have tags for time codes down in the description if you want to jump around. But basically, we'll let you know when we get into spoilers. So if you want to see the movie, you can jump back in after it for the discussion without accidentally hearing something you didn't want to.
Yep.
Well, except for jokes about G-Force, which I will force upon you all. So,
yeah, there's no skipping around that.
No,
there's no cue for that.
I'm going to start editing more in after the fact just for fun. But we also will do news and we'll talk about that. And then Andy's got some stuff for the Internet Movie of the Week this week, so that's great. And we'll talk about that because I'm probably not going to watch it now, having heard what you thought about it.
Spoiler.
Well, no, sometimes you love stuff and I won't watch it. Like Texas Chainsaw Massacre or the Human Centipede.
Well, Human Centipede, I don't blame you on. I really... That's my own private hell.
Yeah.
That I don't wish on anybody else.
Why do you wish it on yourself? You could have just not watched it.
Young and stupid. What can I tell you?
Fair enough. Well, speaking of inflicting pain, you can't on Nathan Kane. That is the subject of this week's discussion, if you will. It's the movie Novocaine, starring Jack Quaid and Abigail Midthunder, or Amber Midthunder.
Yeah, from Prey.
Fantastic name, fantastic actress. We got Ray Nicholson, Betty Gabriel, and Jacob Batalon, all as a part of this cast as well. Ray Nicholson, I believe...
he's one of the bad guys.
Yeah, he was that. Okay, that's right. Yeah, because he was in Smile 2.
Yeah. He didn't look anything like he did in Smile 2, though. I had to look that up.
No, not at all. I totally forgot that this was Jack Nicholson's son while we were watching the movie.
Yeah, because it doesn't look like him at all.
No, he's got the smile, but like generally he's not just a dead ringer for his dad.
And I couldn't place who the woman, like I had to look that up too. And I the first thing I saw was Prey. That's same woman. I'm like, I couldn't believe that.
It clicked the whole time. I was like, I know her from something, and then I saw Amber Midthunder at the end, and I was like, oh, I remember that name. Yeah, that's Prey. Okay, makes total sense. Good cast, I think. But we always start with your thoughts, Andy. What is your opinion on the movie Novocaine? Good, bad, great, or terrible? If you haven't joined us before, that's our rating scale. There are no other options. Andy breaks that rule all the time, though. So
not always.
Not always, no.
I would say this is good.
Okay.
Like a week good, but still good.
Okay.
I liked it. I didn't think it was the greatest thing. I thought it was at least better than Love Hurts because I was kind of expecting to see a carbon copy of that.
Sure.
Because it almost looked like that. But Jack Quaid really carries this film. And there were some parts that I thought were really funny, whereas I found nothing redeeming about Love Hurts at all.
Yeah, Love Hurts had I don't know. We got to see a property brother get his brains blown out, but that was about it.
Yeah, but I guess the difference between that and this is it was better casting in this. The bad guys, for even as goofy as they are, were at least fun to watch.
Sure.
But the last part of this film, I thought could have been cut down a little bit. I didn't think it needed to be as long as it did.
Yeah, I have some thoughts on the last part. Just one particular thing that just was bugging me when I walked out was like, why? Anyway.
But unfortunately, I don't think a lot of people are going to go see this. The grosses already this weekend are not looking good for this thing.
So far, box office of $3.9 million. We're recording this on a Saturday. Budget of $18 million, though. So it's a low budget sort of feature, so it has a chance to make back its money, especially once it gets into home video release. Sorry, I'm showing my age. Once it's on the streaming platforms for y'all wiggity swiggity kids and whatnot.
I keep saying when it hits like home video.
Yeah. Coming soon to home video. Gosh, I miss those days. I miss pushing in the VHS and just hearing it boot up, and then you hear the tape go, and that's just in the background of your movie the whole time. Oh,
I was amazed when it went from like tape to like the Laserdisk.
Oh, goodness,
I was like drooling. The first film I ever bought like on Blu-ray, or not even Blu-ray, just DVD, was The Matrix.
Oh, really?
And
I think ours was Spider-Man 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I was just, I'm like, wow, like look at the picture. It's amazing. And it looks better than it. And I just,
480p.
Yeah.
It's so terrible now. I've loaded up a DVD the other day. I was like, how do you even watch this? And then I remembered, oh, right, our screens were 1/4 the size.
Yeah.
So that made a huge difference. Like I've watched so many movies on a 7-inch screen in the back of a Suburban.
Right.
That, at the time, I was like, yeah, this is all the resolution you'll ever need. And then now kids have portable tablets that have a higher resolution than that, and you get them for $100. And the TV in the car was a $3,000 add-on,
right?
And if you stood up too close to it in the winter, you'd shock your ear on the way out of the car.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Are you speaking from personal experience?
The static electricity on those little CRTs they put in those cars, man. You get too close, and zap! It's terrible.
Or did you do that to your brother? Just, hey, come here.
Oh, dude, we used to go outside in the winter, and we had the Suburban, and then we had like the Chevy, it was whatever the Savannah, those big vans, and we would just sit there and we would rub our socks on the carpet. And they had those big carpeted bucket seats, and we would shock each other's teeth so we could watch our teeth light up. Hurt every time. We did it forever.
Okay, so it's not me going down the rabbit hole this time. So back to Novocaine.
What? Oh yeah. Well, I brought it back. Pain. See?
Okay.
See?
Okay. Good segue.
Even subconsciously, I'm an incredible host.
All right.
So Novocaine, you're giving it a
good.
A good. Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of a tepid good, but good nonetheless.
Yeah. It's not as bad as, like I said, like I really compare this to 11 Hertz because it's almost the same story.
Yes.
But this one was done a lot better. I feel bad for Jack Quaid now because this is 2 films like this year that are not really going to make a blip on anybody's radar. And it's a shame that Companion didn't. Companion, I really think was probably the best film that we've seen this year so far. And
yeah,
or at least one of the better ones.
Yeah, it's definitely up there.
And like nobody went to see that. Yeah. And I kept telling everybody at the theater that it's actually a really good movie.
And the thing is, like, looking at Jack Quaid's career, so The Boys is where I first saw him in anything. Which is not a series I advise people to watch, but that's where I saw
started to, but I lost interest in it pretty fast.
It just gets really gross. That's pretty much like...
That's probably why I lost interest in it.
You know how we joked this week over text that if a movie doesn't offend you, then they've not done their job, right? Because it's really hard to do. The Boys might do it. It's at the very least, it'll make you go like, they're definitely trying to. I can see how they're trying.
Yeah, because we were talking about the Toxic Avenger remake.
Yeah.
And that's like, if anybody has seen the original one, it's really an offensive film, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Like, actually, I like it. And it's a superhero from New Jersey. So that just sets it up right there. It was, I think, like Troma Pictures. It was their second film, and it took off like a rocket.
Yeah.
It has like this huge cult following. There's 3 sequels to it. And then there's actually been some pictures released from the movie this week too, along with the one sheet that I sent Garrett in a text message. And I was like, first off, I have to play this at the end of August because there's really nothing else out. And I want to see how many people it will offend.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
If it's anything like the original.
We can't count it as a financial success, but we can count it as a artistic success if the majority of people walk out and ask for a refund in the first 20 minutes.
I just still think it's weird that Peter Dinklage is playing the main role.
I think it's weird that anyone does anything, honestly. Let's just all go to bed. I'm tired.
Warner Brothers originally had this film and they sold it to a small no-name company. That's how it's getting the theatrical release.
Yeah, because they tried to shelve it for, 2-3 years now?
Yeah, like I know it made a premiere at Fantastic Fest in Austin a couple of years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's coming out in August.
People that saw it said it was really good.
I think people who see Novocaine will say it's probably pretty good. See, I segued back in.
Okay.
No, I want to talk about the Toxic Avenger, but I do want to talk about Novocaine too.
Okay.
I'm giving it a pretty solid good because I felt like, kind of like you, I was comparing it to Love Hurts.
Yeah.
But in the first couple minutes of the movie, and I actually, listen, don't tell the viewers this, the listeners this, but I may have missed everything up until they were actually on the date. So I missed the meet cute or whatever at the beginning of the movie.
How late were you?
It's just like 5-6 minutes, just a little bit. It was, long story short, I'm terrible at time. And so anyway,
we know this.
So we get in there and we're watching this movie. And by the time that she gets him back from the bar that they went out to, not a spoiler, but they get back to his place and stuff. I was like, this is the kind of setup that Love Hurts needed. And then the rest of the movie, I was just like, this is what Love Hurts wanted to be.
Okay, so
that's what this movie is.
The first couple of minutes then that you missed, there was a part where they show her working at the same bank that he does.
Okay.
And then they go out for lunch. And
that's when she makes him try the pie.
Right.
Okay. I saw the lunch. I just missed like the very beginning.
You didn't miss much.
Okay. Yeah. I figured it was just a meet cute.
It was generally just showing like, hey, him starting his day, and showing too that he had like in his shower, he had a rod on like the temperature dial, so he knew what not to go past. So there was little things throughout his apartment that he set up purposely with the condition that he has.
So nice little interesting visual setup without any. Yeah. Okay. But I knew the premise going in, so it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah, you didn't miss much.
But after that, I just had fun with it. I thought it was sufficiently tongue in cheek. Jack Quaid, I think at the very beginning, weirdly enough, I still find it difficult to buy Jack Quaid as a real human being. I don't know why. I don't know why. He just seems like, you ever meet someone who you're like, you're putting on an act right now. Like he just seems like that anytime he tries to be genuine. Like the whole lunch scene, I was just like, I don't know about this. He grew on me over the film again. Like, because he does. I think he's, I mean,
at least his character is likable in this rather than
he's very likable.
Companion where he's a complete jerk.
He's just the worst. Yeah, I mean, I like him throughout the rest. It was just that scene where I was like, I want to, I don't feel the flirt as much. But then by the time they get back to the apartment and that whole scene goes down, it was like, I'm in.
There was one scene later in the film that was, save for spoilers, that I was like Garrett laughing. So I was like representing you, even though you weren't there, because I'm sure the other 4 people that were in the theater beside me and Jessica were like, shut up.
I wonder if it's the same scene where I was just giggling like a schoolgirl. Oh my goodness. Yeah, but I think that it's got enough fun stuff in it. It's not breaking new ground in any way.
No, it's very predictable too.
Sure,
like there's things that I spotted, or Jessica and I spotted right away.
Yeah,
but it didn't really matter, and it wasn't to the film's detriment. That it was still fun to watch.
It's weirdly like a comfort movie where you're like, I can go into this and the stakes aren't really that high, even though the stakes are high, for the characters. But it's, you're not feeling tense. You're just going, what are they going to do next? Are they going to do? Yeah, they're going to do that. Okay, all right. Let's see how this plays out.
Yeah.
It kind of has that feeling to it, and I found that there was enough character in Jack Quaid's performance once we get past that initial opening scene.
Right.
At least the opening scene to me. So the second scene.
You saw.
The second scene. But I felt there was enough there that I was rooting for him. And I felt like he was, he was not the same character he was in Companion. So you can see him doing something different. And I respected that a lot. I thought the fight scenes were fun. I liked the action in it. I think that the special effects makeup for his tattoos is almost good. But if he did those himself over many years, they were way too shiny. And I don't even have tattoos, but I was sitting there going like, you rolled that on with a paintbrush 5 minutes ago. What are you talking about? Like just and all you had to do was spread some concealer over it so it looked diffused.
Yeah, but it wasn't like Memento where it was that important, or like it was.
No, but I feel like someone didn't give the makeup artist enough time to finish it.
Well,
that's all.
$18 million budget. This wasn't the fully ado budget.
If we could look, if they could take the budget of Fully Ado and just make Hold on. What's 250 divided by 18? I'm gonna do the math real quick. No, that's times.
Or what Snow White was. I think it's climbing up to 300 million.
For this movie, they could have made 13.8 repeating Novocaines for one Joker fully ado, and I would prefer that.
Me too. Although, like we said, this film is very reminiscent of Love Hurts. It's just about the same thing with some minor plot points that are different.
Yeah,
but
like his whole thing is that he met someone who makes life worth living rather than hiding from your past.
Right.
So it's a little bit different there, but
at least like this one was engaging. It was funny. It was, like you said, very tongue-in-cheek, and it wasn't like, oh, God, when the heck is this movie going to be over?
Yeah, and it was a very consistent tone, whereas Love Hurts would kind of swing wildly from ridiculous to, like, not even melodrama, because melodrama would have worked, but just trying to make you believe drama by telling you that it happened, not by doing it.
At least, like, the bad guys in this, like, the bad guys in Love Hurts were just stupid. Like, straight up stupid. Every one of them.
Yes.
This one, they were dumb, but at least they were fun to watch.
Yes. Yeah. Like you get the whole brother thing, like that totally makes sense, and all the actions make sense. And then the thing that I will say for Love Hurts, though, is that I think the Raven is great. I love the Raven in Love Hurts. I just think that he's such a weird, quirky character.
And just his internet friend in Novocaine was pretty funny.
Yes, yeah. So Jacob Batalon, who most people will know from the Spider-Man trilogy, where he's the guy in the chair. He kind of is the guy in the chair in this one for a little bit, and I think they did that on purpose.
Yeah.
But he's like, no, I don't want to do that. I just thought that was a fun little gag.
Yeah. But he's very enjoyable in this.
Yeah. I think it's like a fun. It's not. I don't want to say throwaway movie because I don't think that's giving it enough credit. But it is kind of just a fun have fun.
It's a good popcorn film.
Eat some popcorn. We got the Paddington phone booth popcorn bin, and I was so happy
since we still have that movie.
Yeah,
over a month later, and we still have that film.
Is it already over a month later?
And Captain America opened on Valentine's Day weekend.
Goodness gracious!
Because I made the joke
to my wife to see Paddington soon.
I made the joke to our film buyer saying, "Are we ever going to get rid of this?"
It's Paddington, man. People love Paddington.
Well, it's down to 2 shows this week.
Oh, is it okay?
Yeah, one afternoon.
Hey,
one
month's
night.
Not a bad run in today's day and age, where movies are on streaming 18 days after they're released.
It doesn't help that there's nothing else out.
Yeah. How's Night of the Zoopocalypse doing?
Actually did okay.
I'm not surprised. People apparently like it.
Except for the parents that were mad that their children came out crying.
Oh. Oh no.
And so the whole I kind of want to see it, but it's not encrypted. So months down the line, I can probably still watch it with no fear.
We'll catch up on that in August.
I can use that for if anything else goes wrong with the Summer Movie Clubhouse. Yeah. Hey, we're gonna play this today.
It's fine. They gave it to us for free. They had literally nothing to protect their assets.
Nope.
Well, I'm just gonna give it a solid good. I think that it's a fun time. Even if it is a little predictable and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about it. It's just a. It's a show up, have fun, go home, be like, oh, that was cool. And then, maybe you'll forget about it. But in 2 years, you may be like, hey, you know what? That'd be fun to watch again.
Or in 2 weeks, it'll be on streaming.
Yeah, probably.
Anyway. Because that window just keeps shrinking anymore, and it's getting super frustrating.
It's very difficult to keep something in theaters. And unless it's, doing Barbie and Oppenheimer numbers. You have 2 weeks to see stuff.
The exhibition world is super upset over, and there's been a couple of movies lately that people have come out and really complained that we're still having it, or you lose it and then the next day you see it's on streaming. And so there's a lot of outcry. I'm curious to see if they're going to be anything at CinemaCon for this about people taking notice of that and making it back to that window that it used to be, which was at least 30 days.
Yeah.
To give, because COVID really killed the second run market for movie theaters, but there's nothing really stopping people anymore from the Thursday that you lose that film Friday it's on streaming.
Yeah, and because I remember as a kid, it used to be like, if you don't see this movie, it may be 6 months to a year before you'll see it.
If it was
you
anything
better go
good,
watch
it was a year before it hit like home video.
Yeah, and I don't know, man. Like I like getting stuff quick as much as the next guy.
Yeah,
but I want the urgency back. You know, I want the excitement of like, oh, this is a window where I have to go see this before I've just got to wait a whole extra long time.
Well, and it's good that the studios are doing a lot more repertoire. Because like 7 went back into IMAX in January, and then Dark Knight is coming out in IMAX like later this year, this summer. Sweet. So that's good and bad because that's good that you're bringing these films back for people to see in the theater again. But that's also bad that there's nothing else coming out that you're bringing back these old films.
Yeah.
So that's very scary.
How is it that filmmaking as a commodity is so much easier to do, and there's so much more content being produced, and yet there's so much less to watch?
Yeah.
I think it's maybe because of Netflix.
Well, Netflix, Hulu, Disney
Prime Video,
Plus.
Everything.
Yeah, I mean, they're
just making so much garbage. I'm like, take that team who can do good stuff and give them more time.
Right.
I'll be more happy to pay for the service. You understand that? Like,
that's why I really appreciate Sean Baker's comments during the Oscars. Like I mentioned that already before, but yeah, I can't say enough good things about that guy.
Yeah.
And since I saw Nora too.
How was Nora?
It was really good.
Good.
It's worthy of the awards that it got. Definitely like writing and editing, and the woman who played her, I can't remember. Like I'm having a brain fart. Right now.
I can't remember her name either. Mikey something or something like
Mickey,
that. Mickey. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's really well put together. It's a good story. It's the whole last part of it, like halfway to the last part, is a complete circus, which is really fun to watch. When you get past the first half of it, that's very sexual laden.
Yeah.
Because it's she's a stripper. It shows her work and her business and what she's doing.
Her business.
Yes.
Oh no, you put your business away, ma'am. No.
But once it gets to a certain point and she marries the kid and the family finds out in Russia, all heck breaks loose, and it's really fun to watch.
Okay, cool. I need to get my hands on this.
Yeah.
I wish I had time to see it when it was in the theater with you guys. All right, well, let's get into spoilers. What'd you say? Spoilers. Okay, so the scene where the guy's torturing him.
Yeah.
And Hannah and I were losing it. We were.
Yeah, Jessica and I were laughing hysterically.
Oh,
too.
my goodness. Because he's also doing a really bad job of selling that he's in pain.
Right.
He has no idea what it feels like.
Oh, God, no.
Oh, no.
Please stop. No.
How are you doing? Terrible. Like, just all of that stuff was so funny. I love that he used that to buy time. And I thought that was great. But I also loved when he runs into the first brother in the kitchen and he's fighting him and he's making the goofiest noises every time. Or like the guy picks him up and he goes, "Oh, you're strong." Like he's just, like he picks up the pan and he tries to swing at the guy and the guy grabs the cast iron pan and it's hot and he starts screaming. He's like, "Oh, yeah, so those are definitely third degree. You're going to want to put that under cold water." The guy just punches him in the throat. It's just like, it was great.
Or even when he picks up that knife and throws it at the bulletproof vest.
Oh, yes, and it just bounces off and he goes, "Oh." Like, all of that stuff. He's so, out of his depth, but because he has this condition where he has a congenital insensitivity to pain, I think is what it's called, CIP.
Yeah.
And...
So he's just not. He's on a liquid diet because he's in fear of like biting off his own tongue.
Yeah, because I think he said the life expectancy for people with his condition is 25 because they never know when anything's wrong.
Yeah,
crazy.
But the gun in his French fried hand. I really like that too. That was a good gag.
That was. The whole kitchen scene was just like, I was like, there's so much opportunity for, Monkey Man level stuff in here. And I think maybe there's some more they could have done with some different things.
Or even the monkey.
Or even the monkey, yeah. So what, someone just having an aneurysm and their head exploding?
But even when he like discharges the gun and kills the guy, he's like, "Oh."
Yeah. He's like, "Are you okay?" Shot him through the head, man. No.
Yeah, his brain's all over the ceiling. And are you all right?
I just love how he plays inept really well in this, and I enjoyed that, and then I enjoyed how you see him kind of, for the first time in his life, getting to make a decision to go put himself in harm's way instead of avoiding it, and using that, and she calls him a superhero at their lunch day, and he's like, I have the power to step on a nail and not even know until my shoe fills with blood. Which by the way happened. Real story, yeah. And so, I enjoyed all of that, and I thought that Amber Midthunder was really likable in her role. Oh, yeah.
Even though it's kind of predictable that she's a part of the bank robbery and she's involved.
I should have seen that coming.
We saw that coming,
but it wasn't until when she first speaks at the auto parts shop, and he turns around and he gives her the cola gummies. I was like, okay, he knows too much about her. I guess that's her adoptive family, and so like it wasn't it. It's not that it wasn't telegraphed. It's just I've had a long week, so I was not picking up on stuff as fast, which actually may have made this more fun for me because I totally predicted at the end when he broke his arm, I was like, oh, he's gonna stab him in the head with his own bone. That's absolutely how this has to end because they showed it popping out.
I like the fact that he shocked him with a defibrillator through his own arm.
Oh, that's right. Okay, that's what it was. I was wondering why he put his one side on him because I was like, couldn't you just shove them both through and
no, because the electric current will pass through him, and it's even better like touching him with the French fried hand.
Yes. just like, this is the most disgusting thing, and you'll be shocked.
Yeah, and even like with the torture scene, how he ends up dispatching the other brother was pretty gruesome,
right? Yeah, I mean, just
it was like,
got that. I loved the whole. Okay, so this is where the movie's kind of like, they set stuff up through dialogue that's kind of like very on the nose, because the older brother goes back to Ben's house and he's like, I'm going to check on his house, and Nicholson says, what, the house he just booby trapped like Fort Knox? Are you crazy? And it's like, okay, we could have just you didn't have to have that scene. You could have just had him going back to check his house and be like, that's a stupid idea. Well, we don't see why it's a stupid idea until Jack Quaid shows up.
And that's where I thought the ending could have been cut down a little bit too, with the ambulance and the bone, and even as much as I like the electric shock thing, like a lot of that could have been tightened up just a little bit more.
So on one hand, I agree with you. From a story point of view, like pacing wise, yes. Story wise, I don't know if I'm fully on board with that, because he gets in there and he gets caught off guard by the fact that she was actually in on the whole thing. So it makes sense to some degree that he does get bested by this ex special forces guy, but then comes back after it when he realizes he has a chance to make this right after getting his butt kicked. Right. So like, I get why they did that, but I think it could have ended in the auto parts shop with different stuff. And like, if you've ever worked on a car, there are so many ways to get hurt. Like, if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. Yeah. Like, you could have done so much different stuff there in the auto parts store. And I kept wondering, why have a 2-part to this finale? The cops get shot. They didn't have to.
Well, especially with the tire resting on his face, too.
Right? Yeah, he was not looking too great there.
No. He's like, I know he's not going to feel that, but yeesh.
Yeah, I mean, I do like that he can still get knocked out. He just doesn't feel the pain. He just looks kind of like.
Well, I even like the fact that the other brother tells him, "Well, yeah, you can take a punch. Good."
Yeah. The thing is, though, did they ever tell him that Nathan can't feel pain? Because he says it later. He's like, I found a way to make you feel something. And I'm like, who told you that he can't feel it? No one said that to you.
No, they didn't. So it's kind of a goof.
Is that a plot hole? I think now, actually, maybe I'm going to vote terrible. Unwatchable. Literally cannot watch this ever again.
And that scene ended up on the cutting room floor to make it an hour 50.
Maybe so, yeah.
But it has like 10 minutes of credits too.
It does. Yeah.
And I was like, why? I didn't think there was a secret scene. I didn't stay.
There wasn't, no.
Oh, okay.
I looked it up. I didn't stay.
Oh, okay.
But I looked it up. So I was like, all right, I'm tired.
But
I want to go to bed.
The whole booby trap stuff too. Like everything happens and he's just kind of oblivious to, oh, yeah, there's a ball with spikes on my back. And
he's more just frustrated by the inconvenience than anything. And I love that because he's, when the arrow goes through his leg, he's like, seriously?
Yeah.
And those little moments, I think, they keep it lighthearted enough that this is not, because I was thinking about Crank while I was watching this a little bit. I was like, okay, so Crank,
it is reminiscent of that too.
Yeah, it's got like he needs the adrenaline or his heart will stop and he'll die. So that's a different setup because he does feel the pain. But this, I was thinking about this and I was like, if you're in the mood for something that's kind of as ridiculous as Crank, but you want to maybe have more fun instead of be more like, whoa, this is definitely it. I mean, there's plenty of gore in here that is it's pretty gross.
And then there's Crank 2 High Voltage.
Which is that the one where he jacks himself onto the car battery with the nipple?
I think so.
I didn't say that sentence right, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
He attached the car battery to his nipples.
The best part in that when he's like standing in line with people at a bus stop and rubbing against them to create static electricity to keep himself alive.
That's so stupid. Oh goodness. But yeah, Jacob Batalon showing up and he keeps talking about riding the Harley and it's a Vespa. Yeah. I loved that.
Yeah.
My favorite character in this though is the cop's partner, the guy who's just like he shows up and he goes, "Man, it's a bad day to stop drinking."
The redhead.
Yeah, and she goes, "You stopped drinking?" He goes, "No, I'm just saying it would have been a bad day." And he shows up in a lot of different stuff as just little bit parts, often as a cop, actually.
Well, Hangover, he was a doctor.
That's right, yeah. I love how understated his comedic style is. And I was really sad when he died. I was actually like, I actually said, no.
But then the boring cop lived.
Yeah. Why do they always let the boring one live? Stop it.
But the other thing too is like the girl actually went to jail.
Yes, yeah, but somehow only got like I guess at most
6
like a
months?
year. I think they said
6 or 8 months.
I think they said they had 8 months left, but it was a year after all of this had gone down.
And then
so I guess it'd be 20 months total.
He got off with time served, like sitting in a hospital bed.
Yeah, I mean,
a coma.
To be fair, that is time served.
Yeah,
being stuck in a full body cast might be worse than prison. Well, you can't drop the soap when you're in this full body cast.
Yeah, but how were you supposed to? Never mind. I'm not.
And that's where we leave the jokes.
Yes. On to news.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna stay with a solid good on this. I had a lot of fun with it.
It is fun.
If you want to go out, I think like Hannah enjoyed it a lot as well. We both really laughed a lot.
Yeah,
it's a good date night.
I was kind of curious what Hannah was gonna think of this.
She had fun. Good. When we walked out, the only thing that I really had a problem with, and I'm glad I remembered this before we move on. So when he's in the back of the ambulance, this is literally the only thing that really bothered me in the movie. He reaches across to grab a what looks like a can of maybe liquid nitrogen or something, or an oxygen tank. So he's handcuffed to the bed, and he reaches across and gets this canister and uses that to break his thumb. He spends so much time doing that. All he had to do was push his thumb up against the bar that he was handcuffed to and push. That's all it took. And he wasted all his time doing that. I mean, I understand that it's a better visual when he whacks it and the thumb's just pointing backwards. I was like, oh.
And then puts the thumb back after he gets out.
Yeah.
And you just hear that.
Oh, it's so gross. I love it. And but it just seemed like the dumbest way to do that in the moment. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's in character with this character and the tone of the film.
Yeah. But yeah, I like that. I like that he stabbed him in the face with his own arm bone.
Yeah.
Like that was great. Because I remember when Nicholson had his arm and snapped it and the bone popped out, I turned to Hannah. I was like, I know what's gonna happen. And then it happened. I was like, that was it. That was the thing that was gonna happen.
I'm surprised she didn't walk out and leave you there.
Nah, she loves me. Poor girl. Oh, goodness. But yeah, fun movie.
Yeah.
Just fun. Okay.
Yeah, but if you're going to see it soon because it's probably not going to have any legs, as we call it.
I really hope that Positive Word of Mouth does give it legs and it surprises us because I think it deserves that.
Yeah, because I know yesterday was like the first full opening day. We had 6 people for a show, 0, and then the show that you went to.
Ooh, yeah, I think we had maybe 6 or 8 in our show.
It was 13.
It was 13. Okay, cool. Yeah. So, well, it shows how I can't count.
It's hard to tell in a darkened theater when you show up late.
You're right. I should show up on time. That way I can get a head count.
I'm going to start telling you like the movie starts 10 minutes like earlier than what it actually does to make sure that you're there on time.
That won't work. I'll just go, oh, Andy's telling me 10 minutes earlier.
You don't know. You won't check the website or anything. So.
Oh, won't I? Nah, probably not. So, all right. Well, do you want to maybe move on to... Oh. That's the dial-up tone.
Yeah.
Andy, I think it's time for this week's Internet Movie of the Week.
Yes.
You watched it. I didn't. What's up?
I'm saving you. So it's The Electric State that's on Netflix with Chris Pratt and Millie Bobby Brown. You can avoid this.
Oh, no.
It's a shame. It's the Russo brothers that directed this, but it's pieces from about 5 good sci-fi films, a lot of it being The Creator, I think, too, and skip that movie and go watch The Creator.
Okay.
But Chris Pratt's okay, and then it's just got some wild things in it, like where it gets from The Creator, robots rebelling and wanting their own say and acting like they're actual people, and then there's this whole accord with the government because there's a war between robots and humanity, and they end up resolving it by Stanley Tucci's character, who's the head of this company called Center, I think it was what it was called. And generally what they did is took Millie Bobby Brown's dying brother, put him in a case and hooked him up to a mainframe to keep all the robotic things going. And then as they dumb down society and make you wear this giant head piece to go out and work with a robot body, and you can sit at home and be lazy and stupid.
I see. So it's just what coders are doing now with AI.
Right. But it's like I said, if you want to see a better version, The Creator is much better. It's more well done.
Okay.
I know that's not really like a word, but it's definitely more engaging.
I think it is. I think that was grammatically correct.
This was just like Drew will love it.
Shout out to Drew every week.
I tried to call him and tell him about this, and of course went to voicemail.
Well,
because he doesn't answer my calls.
Well, you know how it is.
But
he's a teenager. Why would he want to talk to his dad?
I mean, I guess and there's a lot of like voice acting in this, like Woody Harrelson, Anthony Mackie. There's a couple of different ones.
How's their performances then?
For voice performance?
Yeah.
Well, Woody Harrelson. So the leader of the whole robot rebellion is a robotic Mr. Peanut.
Great.
Which immediately, I don't know how seriously you can take it.
Not very, but I do love it.
No.
Just for my own
the voice
stupidity.
Acting is okay. And Anthony Mackie's the voice of Chris Pratt's robot sidekick. And because at one point too, and Giancarlo Esposito is in this too, but kind of most of it, you just see his face in a robot. His other end of it, where he puts on this headset and is commanding this robot to go kill other robots. It's just a mishmash of, like I said, 5 good sci-fi films that are put into this.
Yeah. Okay. How's the VFX on it? Like the stuff that I saw in the trailers looked really good, but
it was okay.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't stand out. Like Mickey 17's effects were a lot better.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because that's like the one that we saw recently that I could draw a comparison to.
Yeah, Mickey 17 looks really good.
Yeah,
it really does. People do not like Mickey 17. They say it is a confused mess, and it's not a perfect movie. It's not as good as the
except
host.
the one guy that works at the theater, Miles. He loves it. He saw it like twice already.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he absolutely. Yeah. He didn't see where I thought it fell apart like going halfway through, and he's like, "No, I like the whole thing." I was like, "Okay, that's your opinion, dude."
I would want to go back and watch it again just for Robert Pattinson's performance. The only thing is, I'm just too annoyed by the on the nose political.
It does get much, and it really does beat you over the head with it,
right? And you can make that point, and I'll be like, "Yeah, okay." I just was annoyed by how many things were just like, and now I'm doing this moment from current history. And wink, wink.
And that's where like half hour of that film could have been cut out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Easily.
Honestly, I think we could just cut out that actor entirely and everything would be great.
And just Mark Ruffalo gets annoying.
Yes, he does.
Because, doing theater checks and watching pieces of it throughout the week and the parts, I'm like, yeah, the character just gets way too annoying for me.
Yeah.
And I don't like Toni Collette either to begin with. That film doesn't help me like her anymore.
No, it's definitely some of the worst stuff I've seen her do. Like, it's nothing compared to Krampus.
Or even like the one good film that she did, The Sixth Sense.
Was she in The Sixth Sense?
Yeah, she was a kid's mother.
That's right. Oh my goodness.
Yep. Or there's a really good chick flick that I like too with her in it and Cameron Diaz called In Her Shoes that I had Jessica watch them one night and she really liked it.
I have not seen that.
Because that's one of my favorite directors who's passed away was Curtis Hanson. He did LA Confidential. That if you haven't seen that, it's a must. Like, put it on the list because I'm sure you haven't seen it.
It's going on the list. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's one of the best, like, crooked cop, film noir, 1950s Hollywood. It's just a great film. Good Russell Crowe, Guy Pearce, James Cromwell's in that. Just fantastic, solid performances. And Kim Basinger won an Academy Award for that too.
Okay,
and she's really good.
And I do love Russell Crowe.
Yeah,
but like early 2000s Russell Crowe.
He plays like a dumb cop that's generally just a meathead that's used to beat people up.
Yeah.
But he kind of realizes what he's being used for that in the film and starts to change things.
Interesting.
It's a really, really good movie.
Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to check that out. I also I just have this like bugbear in my ear. I want to watch Death Becomes Her because I've never seen it.
Oh,
but I've seen
love
a couple of things from it, and I'm just like, I want to see this movie.
That's Robert Zemeckis too.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's a really great twisted movie.
Okay. Yeah, I need to see that.
It's a lot of it, and the effects for that were way ahead of its time. Just because, like, even the parts where Goldie Hawn gets shot with a shotgun and she has a hole in the center of her.
Yeah, that's the little bit I've seen. And I was
right,
just like,
but there's other gags, too, throughout the entire film that are really funny.
Yeah, Zemeckis, man, even when his movies are bad, they fascinate me.
And I remember when that movie came out that I don't like, at the time, I really didn't like Meryl Streep. I really didn't like Goldie Hawn, but yet I went to see it anyway because I'm like, this looks strange.
Yeah.
So I'm drawn to it. And it's got Isabella Rossellini that has a great little part in that too. Fantastic actress who was nominated for an award this year too for Conclave.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you haven't seen that, it's a cool movie.
Yeah, it's on the list. It's one of those things that's like it's popped up a couple times in my periphery just out in the wild, and I'm like,
well,
need to come up.
I could.
What does it say about the Electric State that we're talking about a 30-year-old Robert Zemeckis movie instead?
I think they're making a musical out of it too for Broadway. Death Becomes Her, if it's not already out. For some reason, I think there's a musical.
Well, that's worth looking into. But
yeah,
let's look into something else. Yeah, let's. You want to talk about the news?
Yeah, let's do news.
All right, let's talk about some news. So, have you heard this whole thing about disc rot going on?
What?
Disc rot.
No.
There's a bunch of Blu-rays and DVDs from the aughts that are just dying.
Okay.
And so basically what's going on is that there was some manufacturing issues with some of these that, you're not going to see this happen soon. So it wasn't something in the first 5 or 10 years even that people were seeing.
Okay.
But essentially any discs that have 2 layers, such as BD50s, which have 50 gigabytes of storage, which are, normally a Blu-ray has 25 gigabytes, but these have essentially 2 layers that are glued together. So if there's a lack of proper storage or an issue when they're initially printed, the layers can separate. And then your video no longer works.
Is this the same people that made the Dances with Wolves video cassette?
Maybe so. or anyone making any tech product now. Yeah. They all suck.
That's why I just do digital downloads anymore for movies.
Yeah, at this point. And look, if you have Blu-rays and discs and stuff, it is totally within your right to rip those and have a backup copy digitally. And so I would say if you have a large collection of discs, that's something you should start doing. A disc drive you can get for like $40. Yeah. Plug it in, and there are many guides online about how to rip them, because people they'll buy the Blu-ray of a movie and then put it on their home Plex server so they can basically stream it from their own home server thing, which I've been looking at doing. But it's just one of those things where, yes, physical items degrade. Have backups of your backups. That's just the only way to make sure you.
I have like a handful of DVDs now, and it's stuff that. Either that I really, really like and I have a Criterion Collection copy of, or just stuff that I know that's not available anymore.
Yeah, those would be the ones to back up.
Okay.
Because if disc rot hits you, there's no way to fix it. Once it's done,
right? It's done. Yeah, it's fried.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, some of the problem titles are 127 Hours, A Ghost Story, Cloverfield, Death Race, Elysium, The Eye, Ghost Rider, Gone Girl, Hellboy, Jurassic Park 3, Peter Jackson's King Kong, Layer Cake, Piranha 3D, Scream 2, Scream 3, Sunshine, Van Helsing, and The Witch. So,
nobody needs to see Sunshine ever again, though. Either
some people really love it, but
not me.
Is it the Danny Boyle one?
Yeah.
Yeah, some people really freaking love that movie.
That's one of I think the only film that he ever did that I really didn't care for.
Well, even Criterion, by the way. So 8.5, The Seventh Seal, M, and Paris, Texas are on the list of potentially affected titles.
Seven, if I never have to see another Ingmar Bergman film again, I'm fine with that.
Well, Citizen Kane on 4K, they had to reissue discs and offer a $10 credit to purchasers for that one. So... so there's a list out there somewhere. I'm not 100% sure where
just
to find
making a case for digital downloads.
Yeah, but the problem with digital downloads is that they can deactivate them remotely. That's the thing that always gets me. Is it's like, well, Sony they bought Crunchyroll, and titles they had bought and owned,
they deactivated
because Sony no longer had the rights to them after the sale, and it was like, but I bought it. You can't take it back from me. You don't own anything if you do the digital download. With the disc, you have a physical copy. They'd have to come to your house. And have you met these people? They're too lazy to do that. They can't even make good movies anymore.
Well, Sony buying Crunchyroll from an exhibitor end, this is what we faced on that too. Where Crunchyroll owned like all those anime titles, it was much easier for a theater to get those things and play them with a very loose show schedule. They weren't really harping on, well, you have to play it clean. You can't double it up with anything for like 2 weeks. Once Sony bought that, then they treated everything like it was a major studio property.
Right.
Because we ran into that with My Hero Academia because we had to run it full for 2 weeks. And the problem is it didn't do that well. And they didn't care. They weren't going to budge on it. So, whereas if Crunchyroll still owned that, they would have been a lot more flexible. And, we would have been, well, you need to keep it for another week, but just give it like an afternoon or an evening showtime when we're cool with it.
Yeah, and I think that, there's no doubt that anime is a big thing. Like, there's an audience for it.
Just not in Milton, Texas.
Yeah. Oh, goodness. Okay, so how about this? Would you like to see a new Starship Troopers movie?
No, but I know it's being done by Neil Blomkamp.
Isn't that interesting? Like,
and he says it's going to be more faithful to the book. So
okay, yeah,
that I'm interested.
The original was very much like different.
Yeah, but it was Paul Verhoeven, too.
Right? Yeah, he's doing a completely different thing. But he's.
And I can't say that I hate it as much as other people do, but if you've read the book, it's definitely very different.
Okay. Yeah. Does it have kind of the same sentiments though, like the anti-propaganda sort of stuff?
Some of it.
Okay.
But some of it, like Paul Verhoeven just kind of made it his own. But there's
as he is wont to do.
Right. There, and it looks like just an extension of RoboCop, to be honest. Most of it does.
Yeah.
And the whole thing in the book was the suits that the soldiers wore. It was much more an integral part of the story and an integral part of the characters. Whereas in the movie, they just like played that off completely, and it's not even necessary.
Yeah, so it was just the military uniform,
right? And if Blomkamp's going to do this, like I do like the films that he's done. Like I really like District 9. I think that's a fascinating film, and the parallels that he drew with being a South African person, that it's all a big slap in the face against apartheid and the segregation. And it's very well done in that respect too.
Yeah. District 9 is really good, and the VFX on it are incredible. And that's something that Neil Blomkamp really does excel at, is directing stuff where there is this CGI character as a part of the scene. It always feels very organic.
Chappie, I don't know if I really liked it.
I did not watch Chappie. I saw enough of the trailer that I was just like, I don't think this is for me. I couldn't tell you why, but it just wasn't.
And then he did the one that with Tom Hanks for Apple Plus that I never saw.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because he did. It was. Is that the? No, The Gray Man is not the name of it.
No, I don't remember what the name of it was.
Let me find out.
Or you're thinking of Greyhound. I'm thinking that
Greyhound.
wasn't it.
Yeah. Okay. So he did.
And that one's supposed to be really good.
Oh, he did Gran Turismo in 2023.
Oh, that's right.
I totally forgot
that was really good.
Yeah.
I blame the reason that didn't do better at the box office is because it got shifted around so much.
Yeah.
Once it finally came out, I don't think people knew that it was out.
Yeah, I completely missed it because I had no idea when it was happening.
Yeah, because the whole thing, like, it was supposed to be an IMAX release. The problem was Oppenheimer was still doing well. IMAX told Sony that handled that film that they had to push their release date or else they weren't going to get an IMAX date, because they had to extend Oppenheimer because it was still making money hand over fist at that point.
Oh, yeah.
When it wasn't even doing that much in regular screens, IMAX was still, like, producing the bulk of the grosses for that film. And they moved it up, back, and then it ended up coming out in late August, which is kind of a dead time.
Yeah.
And then nobody knew it was
started
out.
back up. And, yeah, people's work schedule.
Yeah,
summer's
it's a really good movie.
Okay, because that's David Harbour's in that one.
Yeah,
and I like David Harbour a lot. He's just fun to watch.
He is.
Neil Blomkamp did Demonic in 2021, Gran Turismo in 2023. This is apparently coming now that the plans have been scrapped for his Aliens sequel that he was going to do.
Yeah, probably because Romulus came out and he was like, nope, forget it.
Yeah. And he was also going to do a follow-up to RoboCop, but that fell apart too. So,
well, did he do the remake?
No. That was,
thank God.
It was 2015 was that RoboCop, right?
Yeah, that movie.
RoboCop.
It bothered me.
Oh, it was 2014.
So much.
2014. That was directed by the Jose Padilla.
Okay, so he's flipping burgers at Whataburger now.
Well, he
should be.
He made Rio, I Love You after that, and then he made Antabe, which is in English, but I don't know what that means. And then he made something called American Cancer Story, which sounds depressing.
Nothing anybody ever saw.
Yeah, so he's done some stuff since, but not a lot.
Yeah,
because that one really.
So Blomkamp was going to do a RoboCop one.
He was going to, but it fell apart. I don't see why in this article. But
if I had to guess, probably script. Probably the writing of that was just. It's hard to do something in that series now that's not going to be either reminiscent of one before that or just something that's completely off the wall that nobody's going to like.
Yeah, there's definitely something to be said for franchises needing to have an end.
Yeah.
Because at a certain point, the themes that made it interesting no longer, you've already said what you can about it.
Right.
I'm going to oversimplify here, but crime bad. Man, stop crime need not be bad man, but need to be able to make decision when bad men have control. Okay, got it. Now, in the next one, crime bad. Well, we covered that. Okay. Well, RoboCop needs to be able to make a decision when a man is really bad to stop more bad from happening. Okay, we already did that. So what can we do differently? I don't know. This time he's less blue and he's more regular gray. That's it. That's all they're doing.
Well, by the original third one too, Peter Weller was out.
Yes,
it was Robert Burke that replaced him, and they went from R-rated from the first two to a PG-13. That was like, that's your. nail in the coffin
You're
on
not
that
getting
one.
away with
I
that.
still did go see it. I'm not gonna lie.
Did you really?
Yeah, just because I like the first two so much, and the second one I was conflicted with because the first time I watched it, I was like, I don't know if I like this one as much. But the more that you watch that, it's a dumb, goofy movie that it's not bad.
Yeah. I remember watching the first RoboCop. It was right after I had moved out of my parents' house, and I had a panic attack almost because I was watching it, and it's like very beginning, all the people are getting dressed, and I was like, duh, boob! Ah! Oh, wait. I'm an adult. I can make a decision.
Yeah, but it's Paul Verhoeven that goes on further to make Showgirls.
Yeah. Choices were made.
That's definitely a movie you can still laugh at. Well,
I can laugh at any movie to such a degree that people want to kick us out.
Showgirls is really funny.
All right, Eli Roth, our favorite person in the whole world.
Hack.
He's launching something called the Horror Section. And he wants to give fans the chance to become investors in the next big horror franchise, is what it says.
Yeah,
here.
but Robert Rodriguez is doing something very similar to that. So once again, hack. You're imitating what somebody else is doing.
Well, crowdfunding though is maybe not the most original idea either way.
Yeah, but Robert Rodriguez is doing it with Brass Knuckle Films.
Brass Knuckle Films.
And he's putting out levels on there of people invest for him to make movies.
Huh.
So it's the same thing as what he...
Why not? I mean, I guess you don't want to pay the fees, but this is just Kickstarter with more like splintering into different things.
Yeah, but I would invest more in Robert Rodriguez than I would Eli Roth.
Well, sure, I want Spy Kids 3 to have a 4K release.
Well,
and Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
I want another Desperado film.
Yeah. I want Antonio Banderas to be in something I want to watch again. That'd be great.
Yes.
Because what was he in? Uncharted? It's bad.
I liked Uncharted.
Oh, no. Andy,
I never played the game. You probably played the games, and that's why you didn't like it. I've never played the games.
Well, no, it wasn't that, because I actually kind of looked at it because Nathan is so young in this one. I was just like, this isn't Uncharted. It's kind of a different idea. And then
you want to go after a good Antonio Banderas film. It's called Take the Lead.
It's called Zorro.
Well,
oh, now hold on.
There's parts of it.
Hold on, Andy. Zorro is fantastic.
No, it's not fantastic, but it's not horrible.
They're fun. They're fun 2000s, like pre-superhero, just mythological.
But Take the Lead is Dirty Dancing with Dangerous Minds. But yet you're still drawn to watch it because he has that voice. He can make you watch any bad movie solely because of his voice.
That is very true. Yeah, he's got a great speaking voice.
I screened Take the Lead and I was like, this is horrible, but yet I can't stop it.
I want to watch Zorro again. They're really fun.
They are.
I grew up watching them, so for me
I still have the one sheets for them. There was a TV show in the late 70s, early 80s for Zorro too that I was drawn to.
I'm pretty sure I've seen episodes of that. Yeah.
Or then there's the Japanese version is Iron Monkey.
Iron Monkey.
Yeah, it's a Japanese Zorro. It's great.
Okay, I need to look that up. That sounds awesome.
Tarantino produced the American release of that film.
Huh.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
So wait, how many feet are in there? Do you think Tarantino likes to make long movies simply because it's more feet of film?
Maybe.
I wonder if anyone's made that particular.
I know when they made Grindhouse, they strapped the negative to the back of a car and dragged it around downtown Austin to give it that scratch.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Grindhouse is a neat project that a lot of people didn't appreciate.
Yeah, I remember seeing the trailers for it when I was a kid and being like, well, that's not for me. That says rated R, and then never thought about it again after that.
But it's a lot of stuff from my childhood. When I went to see those horrible horror films and stuff at the Fulton Twin in downtown Pittsburgh, a lot of the stuff that's in that film I saw. Reels missing. Sorry, thank you for the establishment. Or the cartoon puma that leaps across the screen and go, this movie is restricted. But yet I'm 13 years old sitting in a movie theater in downtown Pittsburgh watching Toxic Avenger.
Well, I mean, it's Pittsburgh. What else is there to do? You can watch these movies or you can get stabbed. That's how it works. But Eli Roth, though, he's launching this on March 21st. He says, Quote, I've done this very successfully, and everything that I've done for this zone has made a lot of money for a lot of people.
Hack.
Borderlands, anyone? Roth told The Hollywood Reporter, now it's time to put it all under one umbrella, build a label, but really do that. Go for the throat horror that I love, that the fans love for me.
That you can't make.
He used Thanksgiving as an example of the type of movie that the horror section would produce, but added that it would be, quote, the tamest type of movie I would do for this new company, and that everything else is going to go further than that.
I kind of like Thanksgiving, though.
I didn't watch it. I felt like I had better things to do.
Well, you gotta. It's good fun.
Okay, well, yeah, and I mean, like, if you like just the gory, like, how creative can you be with the kill stuff? Apparently, he does some of that.
But
well.
it violates like the rules of horror films too. Like your biggest star is your killer.
Yeah,
and that it went right along with that. I'm like, come on, man.
Good job, Eli Roth.
Yeah,
way to throw people off.
Thank you.
But yeah, he says that the massive success of the Terrifier franchise showed him that you don't need to go through the studio system to get mainstream release for truly unrated horror. He said,
that's kind of a scary thought,
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
He said, what Terrifier 3 showed me is that the unrated horror is truly mainstream theatrical in a way that it hasn't been before. I had arguments on certain movies. That's too much. You should cut that. Audience won't accept that. Terrifier threw all that out the window. It's not a good thing, Eli Roth, you freaking idiot.
That's why they're remaking Silent Night, Deadly Night.
I really hope they remake this man's brain into something functional. So yeah, it's I don't want this.
Yeah.
But it's happening.
Once again, I would rather give my money to Robert Rodriguez.
Yes, absolutely. In a heartbeat. Give me Shark Boy and Lava Girl. Make it a buddy comedy. I don't know. Just do something weird with it. Mortal Kombat 2. What did you think about the first Mortal Kombat movie?
I wasn't crazy about it.
It was fine. I really like the kind of beginning part of it because I can't remember that the actor who plays the father, but he's really great, and I love every time he shows up in a movie. I'm just like, he has such gravitas.
It was a little bit better than the original one.
Oh, stepping in dog poop is better than watching the original one. My God, those are terrible movies.
The second original one, Annihilation? That's really bad.
Man.
Christopher Lambert, Paycheck.
I hope they took it back. It was so bad. And I don't actually like the Mortal Kombat games. I don't play that type of fighting game.
I wanted to like the newer one. There was just things about it that I was like, it's okay. It's just not great.
Yeah, it's a little fan servicey, but also kind of doing something that's weird.
Yeah.
Weirdly not Mortal Kombat in other ways too. So it's a very
once again, I've never played the games. I'm not a gamer.
I haven't either. But I remember watching my next door neighbor play it because we would go hang out at his house and he was really into those fighting games. But my hands are too stupid. I can't remember the combos and execute them. Even if I know them in my brain, the minute the other guy starts coming at me, I'm just like square, and it doesn't work.
Okay.
Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis are back. Did you see the Freaky Friday trailer?
Yes.
Okay, how bad does it look to you?
Bad.
Really?
I've never seen the one with... I've seen the one from the 70s with Jodie Foster. I've never seen the Lindsay Lohan one.
Okay. I challenge you to watch it. But here, watch it like this. Watch it with the understanding that it is early 2000s. And it's Friday night movie night. You've got a Little Caesars pizza. And everything it's just something to throw on. And just watch Jamie Lee Curtis play a teenager. It's funny.
Okay.
She's good. She's good in it. She should have got an Oscar for that, not for whatever she did in Everything Everywhere All at Once, which I think was still just a middling performance, which is just nothing. She's like, oh, I'm an angry white woman. And they gave her that because it makes white people look bad. I think that's why she got the award.
I think secretly, there has to be an Academy member that likes horror films and was giving it to her for all the Halloween movies.
That makes sense. I mean,
I would do that.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm just, be honest about it. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, I only watched the first couple of seconds of it because I was like, I want to go into that completely blind and just accept it for what it is and have no preconceived.
It's the attachment for Snow White.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
like I've gotten 5 emails about that this week, making sure that that's on that movie.
I'm always late, so I won't see it anyway.
Oh, that's true.
Novocaine did $1.75 million in Thursday night previews. We talked about that a little bit. What else is going on? Just Joe Blow's. You know what annoys me about Joe Blow? They do these articles that are like WTF happened to whatever, and I'm like, it came out, people liked it, and now it's on streaming. What do you mean? What happened to it?
Yeah,
the movies are not people. They don't continue to have a life. They have a beginning, a middle, and an end. They don't like disappear into the ether.
So then there's Spinal Tap 2 is coming out in September.
Is it really?
Yeah,
nice.
I'm so looking forward to that. There is a teaser trailer out there for it.
Okay.
It's very short. It is very much a teaser trailer, but Rob Reiner is doing the sequel.
Great.
It's coming out mid-September. Bleecker Street is putting it out, which is a very small studio. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping to play it at Grand Avenue. Yeah. I will fight for that thing because if you've never seen the original, it's an awesome fake documentary. Like, my parents took it so seriously that they forbid me to ever see it. And I went out like 2 days later and saw it in a theater in downtown Pittsburgh, of course. But I was like, this isn't even real. These guys are actors.
Yeah.
You know, it's Lenny from Laverne and Shirley, Michael McKean, and Harry Shearer and Christopher Guest that was on Saturday Night that made jokes about real stories that they heard that bands did.
Yeah.
So a lot of the stuff in the movie like actually happened to somebody.
Right, yeah.
And that's why there are certain bands that you know that that's what happened because they come out and really like bash that film.
You just don't run your mouth backstage in front of a bunch of writers, you morons.
But them doing a sequel to that, I can't wait.
Yeah, I think that it will be it will be a really, really fun time, especially now that I've seen A Complete Unknown. The next like musical biopic thing I watch, I want to be so ridiculous that I actually enjoy it.
That's Spinal Tap. You're coming over and watching that at my place one night.
We've got to.
They're re-releasing it theatrically in, I think, July.
Oh, okay. Great.
So I might try to get that at Grand Avenue.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I would love to do that. Is it still going to be the same band? Like, it's still Spinal Tap.
It's still Christopher Guest, Michael McKean, Harry Shearer. It's the same guys because the drummers always mysteriously die. That's one of the running gags. Yeah. wait till you see this movie. It's awesome.
Oh my goodness.
And then Jaws is getting re-released in late August for another theatrical run for the 50th anniversary.
And there's also that documentary that's going to be coming out. I'm very excited about that.
Yeah. Dark Knight's coming in IMAX this summer.
Yes.
So I might have to drive and do a field trip for that because I really like those Christopher Nolan Batman films. I think they're all great.
The Dark Knight really is it's a good movie, you know, and people big it up all the time, and it's a cliche now, but it was good. It was a good movie.
Right.
The one thing I will say about Christopher Nolan's movies is that they sometimes can feel very montage experience more than plot. And the Batman movies were not that as much, but especially when you get to Dunkirk and Tenet, it's like, I'm experiencing this, but I am not 100% understanding all of it.
Yeah, but Cameron does the same thing.
I don't know. I feel like there's something about Christopher Nolan movies where it's like, this is a scene, but it's not a scene. It's a moment in time more than it is a scene.
Okay.
You know, I don't know if I'm explaining that.
I get what you're saying there. I do. I understand.
And I don't even think it's a problem. It's just something that I always notice, like, especially when I went to go see Dunkirk in IMAX, and I was just like, when is this happening?
Yeah,
which is part of the
I went and saw it at a
70
70mm house.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So
yeah, that'd be fun. Fun little movie trivia thing for you.
Okay.
Seth Rogen says that Sony wouldn't let Jonah Hill's character in Superbad use a PlayStation 2 because his character was, quote, vile. And I just think that's really funny.
Superbad's pretty funny. I like that.
I haven't seen it in a long time.
Beginning of Emma Stone's career.
That's probably the first like adult comedy I ever watched.
Oh, really?
was a pirated version of Superbad. and Take Me Home Tonight, I think I saw, which
that's pretty funny too.
I like that movie.
Yeah.
It did not do super hard, but I thought it was fun.
Topher Grace too. Like
yes.
That's actually probably the best thing he's ever done.
Yeah.
Besides Flight Risk.
You shoot you down.
You shoot you down.
Oh my goodness.
And then what? Blake Lively won the first round of legal battles.
Oh, did she? I didn't even see that.
Justin Baldoni or Bada Bing.
Justin about to be out of money.
never going to work again.
Yeah,
but then Colleen Hoover's not going to use Blake Lively for another one of her books.
Oh no! The next Colleen Hoover movie is starring. I just saw this yesterday.
So a couple of notes from our film buyer this week. He saw Working Man, which we're going to get in a couple of weeks.
Anne Hathaway. It's called Verity. It's going to have Anne Hathaway, Dakota Johnson, and Josh Hartnett, which is a weird.
My wife's reading the book right now.
Oh, is she really?
Yep.
Huh.
So
as we speak?
Yeah. Well,
what are the odds? Oh, she's on her phone right now. It could be a digital copy. There's still a chance. But yeah, so your film buyer.
Working Man. He saw it. He said it was okay. It's nothing new. Yeah. We're going to probably open another A24 film that week that we should do the podcast rather than Working Man. Death of a Unicorn.
So Death of a Unicorn looks so weird.
Yeah. I can't wait to see it.
It's got Paul Rudd. So that was when
Jenny Ortega.
Like when I saw Paul Rudd's face, I was like, well, I'm going to watch this.
Yeah.
Because anything with Paul Rudd, I will at the very least enjoy part of it.
I think it'll make a more interesting podcast than Working Man.
Yeah.
Since it's generally the last Rambo film with Jason Statham.
Yeah. Oh, did you see that guy who got he did a big punch in the beekeeper? No, that was the Working Man. Yeah, same guy. That guy. Did you see? It was good. Podcast over.
And then he saw Snow White. So he really liked it.
Interesting.
And he said it's really good. He said you need to walk into that and put all this other garbage that you've read out of your mind.
The garbage I've said.
And it's a good adaptation of the cartoon.
Interesting. Okay.
And he said it follows the cartoon perfectly.
Yeah, because we talked last week. Mark Webb is the director of this. And Mark Webb is not a bad director. I mean, he got really screwed on The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
I think he's going to get really screwed on this one too.
Yeah, there's no way he doesn't.
So especially since like the price tag on this is near $300 million.
How did that happen?
2 years of filming and like reshoots and all this other stuff that just went out the window.
The movie was already done. He just had to do the thing again.
So personally, I think Disney interfered again and just screwed it up.
I get that it's kind of like it's a very important film for Disney as a studio. The original Snow White, but
they pulled the UK premiere. They're pulling the American premiere.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Oh no!
So
I thought they wouldn't have the guts.
I think they're just trying to gloss this over and Lilo and Stitch, here we come. Because it's going to be the more viable thing at the box office.
But they spent $350 million on this.
I know, but with them letting out all this press stuff on it, they've torpedoed their own film.
Oh my gosh.
And they're looking at least like $120 million loss on this film.
And
they're already predicting that.
We could have had like 5 more Novocaines.
I know.
We could have seen so many French fried hands.
But I still think that was the best gag.
So funny, yeah.
But I'm a little more interested to actually see it now.
I am too. Yeah, the fact that because Rob normally is a pretty good thermometer for these.
He is. And then he saw Alto Nights. He said, I'll love it.
Yeah.
He said it's really good, but it's not going to last.
It's so funny how that works, isn't it? It's almost like the general public is stupid. Not that people listen to this show, though. These are discerning people.
But he knows I'm a sucker for mob films, too.
Yeah, well, mob culture is like just the best fodder for movies. Yeah. It's all so seedy.
Sociopaths are just awesome stories to watch.
Right? Yeah. Like, oh, do I want to watch this normally adjusted person do stuff? No. I want to watch a guy who blows out your kneecaps because you look at him wrong. That's cool.
Henry Rollins had the best thing that he said, too. It's like, the big Hollywood movie is around the corner, and it's about a woman that just has like sex with her husband, and there's nothing that happens in it, and there's nobody at the theater. But around the corner is the little indie theater, and everybody's lined up around the block for that. And they're like, well, what's the movie? It's called Psychomanic Depressive MFer. And because everybody's like, I know that guy. Yeah. That's what I want to see.
You know what people want to see, apparently, Andy?
No.
It's a Minecraft movie. It's tunneling towards a $60 million opening at the box office.
It's going to be more than that.
There is no hope. Clown in a Cornfield came out. It's a slasher for teens.
Okay, next story.
So John Hamm is going to be in a show called Your Friends and Neighbors, and I just love John Hamm, so I'm definitely going to be checking that out.
The Town. You need to see The Town.
I do need to see The Town. Yes,
he's really. That's what got me interested.
And he's so
in him.
good in Baby Driver too. It's such a fun performance.
Oh, so that's another thing for CinemaCon I got notice of this week. So the lunchtime panel is going to be Edgar Wright, Glenn Powell, and another guy, and they're going to be talking about Running Man.
Sweet.
And I'm hoping to run into Edgar Wright and get a picture. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, and then just like
he's made just some amazing films.
If you could, don't actually ask him this, but if you could ask him, just like, hey, can you say into the camera for my friend Garrett, you'll never be as good as me. That way, I can have something that gets me up every day and makes me go, I'm going to prove Edgar Wright wrong.
So that and we're getting to see How to Train Your Dragon.
Oh, fun.
And Lionsgate is having a screening. They haven't said it, but more than likely, I would bet my right arm it's going to be Ballerina.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I know you are rearing to see that.
Oh, yeah. The only other thing they have coming out that I saw the trailer for this week is Hurry Up Tomorrow. And it looks so weird and bizarre that if that's the screening, I'm walking out. It's with The Weeknd and Jenny Ortega, and it looks horrible.
I don't like The Weeknd.
I don't either.
I'm more of a Tuesday person.
That's like Till Tuesday, Voices Carry. I love that song.
Man, I would love to tell you I know what you're referencing, but
it's a good one-hit wonder 80s song.
Okay, gotcha. Apparently, Christopher Landon is teasing a whole other genre for the movie Happy Death Day 3.
Why?
I don't know. They made money, and Jason Blum just says, all right. What he does is he gets directors, and he goes, try this idea. And then they do it, and he goes, oh, okay. And then he locks them in a cage on a human-sized hamster wheel and makes them run until another movie pops out.
But then the only good thing that Blumhouse is doing lately is like Megan 2.0. Because The Woman in the Yard that's coming in a couple of weeks looks god-awful.
I started watching the trailer for that and said, we're not going to do this.
Right.
didn't finish the trailer. Because I was just like, I don't care. This isn't for me. I don't care about this stuff.
They put out too many of these films like Night Swim, Imaginary that nobody goes to see.
Yeah. And then Afraid wasn't Blumhouse, was it?
No, that was Sony.
That was Sony, right?
Yeah.
Afraid was,
Afraid was really good.
It was kooky fun. I loved it. It was a good, and actually kind of weirdly a good representation of what a rogue AI would do.
Right.
So that's terrifying. But yeah, even though it's been a long wait since 2021's Happy Death Day to You, this is according to Joe Blow.
I didn't see the second one. I only saw the first one.
Yeah, apparently the second one is like a different genre. So each one kind of really switches it up. Kind of really switches it up. That's a stupid sentence, and I should be shamed. Shame me in the comments down below on this episode on Spotify. Also, don't forget you can vote for Good, Bad, Great, or Terrible for this week's movie on Spotify if you're listening there. And then you can find us on at Grand Review Pod on Facebook and Instagram and tell us, hey, Garrett, your sentence is real bad. But yeah, he said, I've had the idea for a long time. Jessica Roth, who plays the protagonist, and I have talked about it a lot. The beauty is that it's not set on the same day and it's not in the same loop. So if the opportunity should ever arise and if Universal ever decides they actually want a third because the fans do. But what's interesting is each movie kind of introduces a slightly new genre that we mashed in there. The third movie brings in a whole other genre. So this is not confirmed. He's just talking about it. And Joe Blow got me again with the clickbait title. Dadgummit. Oh, goodness.
He doesn't need to go to Universal to make the third one.
I mean, if they own the rights to the thing, I mean, you could just call it something else.
Yeah,
but
that's an easy fix.
Yeah. Daniel Craig is being eyed to star in Netflix's Chronicles of Narnia movie. Every time an announcement happens on this, I'm less
cringe
enthused.
Even more.
Like I like Daniel Craig. I
do too.
I don't. There's just something weird to me about the way they're approaching this. Like if Charlie XCX, who I know nothing about, I'll be honest, but looking at her, I'm like, well, you can't be the White Witch.
Yeah,
you're short.
So he's he's the voice of Aslan.
You know what? Actually, I didn't even. Yeah, what role would he be?
He would have to be.
Some have wondered if he might be playing Andrew Ketterly, a morally dubious amateur magician who's been experimenting with traveling to other worlds. So, because wait a second, is the? Oh, okay. So there's a consideration that the Magician's Nephew is actually what's being adapted first instead of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and that happens 1,000 years before the events of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And the Magician's Nephew is a good book. So okay, well that maybe
I don't know.
Maybe that could work.
I'm still not horribly because it's Netflix that I'm not really.
Yeah, I mean, but it's Greta Gerwig, so there's.
Yeah, even still, I'm not convinced.
I love the Andrew Adamson ones so much, and I don't know.
Yeah, we talked about this before.
Yeah. Okay, Jason Batman. Wait, what?
Way to go, Garrett.
I'm just gonna, it's just a commercial.
It's just
thing.
awesome to be professional,
Sinners gets an R rating from the MPA.
Yes, saw
so
that.
That is exactly what that movie needs.
The week before that, though, we're like jammed up at the theater. Like April 11th is going to be a huge weekend.
What else coming out?
Like we had to literally pick what we wanted to play that weekend.
Really?
Like King of Kings is already confirmed and tickets are up for sale, which actually looks really good. It's an animated story of the story of Jesus as Charles Dickens tells his son. The last trailer that I saw looked amazing. It looks really good. I'm excited to be playing that.
Okay, cool.
So also that weekend, Drop, Blumhouse thriller that doesn't look great, but looks a little bit interesting. Warfare, I know, is coming out also that week that A24 is putting out Alex Garland's new movie.
Yes.
And then there's another The Amateur comes out that weekend.
Oh, great. The Amateur.
So initially I was like, well, if I had my choice, drop. Because Blumhouse, yeah. But I think we're already confirmed for it. So that's going to be hard to get out. But I was like, told Rob, I said, make sure we get The Amateur. Because that's going to be the second biggest movie that weekend.
I think it's going to be a fun watch.
Yeah,
I do. Like I love an espionage thriller sort of deal, and underestimating this guy who's really smart. Like that kind of movie's always
right.
Fun.
So we know that like the first quarter for films has not been good. Like just box office grosses are really low. So April is definitely going to bust out. And then go into summer, and then the rest of the year just looks amazing. And I can't wait to see what stuff they're going to show us at CinemaCon.
Yeah. I can't wait to see Ballerina when it finally comes out. It's going to be fun.
I'll go watch it again, definitely. If that's what... Hope to God that I'm right about that, and it's not the weekend film. I would literally get up and walk out. I'm not kidding.
They're not going to give it to you anyway, so whatever.
I'll drop $1 at the craps tables because that'll be a better use of my time than watching that film. If you've seen the trailer for it, it just looks terrible.
I just don't. I'm sure The Weeknd is a very talented man, but it seems like what was The Idol is the one that he did with Lily Rose Depp, that series, and it was so awful, and he was bad in it, and I don't need it. So. Oh, goodness. Well, I don't think there's much more to bring up. So
there isn't.
Maybe we'll just call it an episode there. Oh, wait. I do have some news.
Okay.
I watched The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, and we both thought it was hilarious, Hannah, and I really enjoyed that movie.
It's a great movie.
Good one. So if you see that, I think it's on Netflix right now.
Pedro Pascal, really good in that. Yeah. Really, and I just love the fact that he made fun of himself.
Yes. Yeah, it was really funny. I enjoyed it all the way through, and
but then the problem is
such a Nick Cage movie.
It is, but then the problem is he did Renfield after that. That was really bad.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. Couldn't do it.
Anyway,
all right. Well, that means there's only one thing left to say, Andy, and that is we'll see you at the movies. Bye.
Bye, y'all. Take care.